All right. I've got 11 a.m. my time. In the interest of starting on time, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So good morning, everyone. My name is Evan Welchel. I'm the Senior Director of Revenue Marketing, here to host the SDR group conversation. Would like to keep this very interactive. The slides are short and brief. I'll be using them as a visual aid just to walk through the narrative of some of the updates we've made, as well as some of the results we had for Q2. I do have a split screen going. I cannot see the chat, but please do enter your questions in the document, and I will stop to let everybody verbalize their questions. Francis, I know you have a question about the acquisition team. I'm actually going to cover a little bit about that and some updates here shortly, but I will have you verbalize the question when we get to that piece. I'd like to spend the first just 5 minutes going through the slide deck, the narrative of the slide deck, quick overview, and then we'll go in and field the questions if that's okay. So first and foremost, some big updates. Last time I did the group conversation, we had many vacancies under this leadership structure. We have been very active in our hiring process, both on the SDR side as well as on the management side over the past month. So you can see the asterisks. We now have a new commercial leader for the EMEA commercial team, reporting to Elsha in Panos. Matt Malcolm has joined the team to head up the enterprise acquisition team, which is the first question and part of what will be highlighted on the slides. Jordan Bushong has taken on a sort of East Central territory management role, moving over from interim manager for the West. Lindsay Turner has taken over doing a commercial management role, backfilling Mona, who is now running North America. Jay continues to run Asia Pac, and then we've brought on Megan O'Dowd to help Michael Hamilton with the enablement team. So we've been busy. So far, these are sort of the big rocks for us from a leadership perspective, and we can continue to build out the team going forward based off of the vision that we've all identified. Last quarter was a great one for us, 722 SAOs for 5.3 million in net new pipeline created. Notable achievements here. July was the highest SAO creation in history for us, and the pipeline value will continue to mature over time. So we'll be able to watch that and see how it grows. But the initial reporting on the pipeline value is actually very high. So very happy with the way the quarter turned out, especially with the month of July. Looking to continue that trend as we grow and invest in different initiatives, both digitally within the field team and then obviously within the SDR team growth and acquisition teams. Closed one ops, also very important. We had a high number of closed one ops. Within July was 107, yet another record. Those are SDR sourced ops for 2.72 million in net new IACV in Q2. So another strong performance. Glad to see opportunities are continuing to close. We're making a strong pipeline contribution. 6 key deals that were sourced across all business segments, both large and enterprise. Obviously can't name the companies in the slide, but can talk about the IACV contribution and the individual reps who were part of sourcing those deals. Great job by all of them. I'm watching Sid's question, sorry. Q3 changes. So we are, we did a massive shift in how we were doing alignment. We wanted to align both field marketing, digital marketing teams, MPMs, and the SDR teams to sales more closely and look at how we do the rep alignment. So with that comes a lot of back-end changes, lead routing being the biggest one. To the right there, you can see how complex our lead routing has become through snapshot and lean data. Special thanks to the marketing operations team for making that happen. It is a continuous work in progress. We see iterations on it pretty much daily as we continue to hire and align to the different sales teams. Hiring and hired, I'm saying both because we've hired 3 new managers to prepare for this quarter. We have 22 open SDR positions right now. 6 have been hired. Several offers are in process, and we've brought on 1 enablement manager. So the idea there is to continue to empower and enable our reps, give them clear coaching and career direction, both on the tools and their soft skills, but also continue to support the growth of the sales organization and the growth in lead volume over the course of the next couple quarters. Acquisition team update. And Francis, do you want to go ahead and verbalize your question here?
My question was just, tell me more. What is this? What's it about? And, how does it differ from the traditional SDR?
Absolutely. So with our sales organization continuing to hire very rapidly, we will continue to pair SDRs with sales as they come on board. We also have, other initiatives going on, micro campaigns that we can do in certain regions that we're focused on. So with hiring sales to greenfield accounts, there's an increased focus on getting them ramped as fast as possible. We want to invest additional resources, both where we see pipeline deficiencies, but also the need to ramp sales quickly. So this team will have a calendar and a roadmap based off of pipeline needs as well as hiring. And we will point them in the direction, along with digital resources and field resources, to build pipeline as fast as possible for those sales as they come on board. That's the initial high level intent of the team. We're still building. We're going to take the month of September to get the process right. And we are currently interviewing and looking to make offers and start dates for 9/1 with a go live of 10/1 for the team with some initial activities in North America. So the big thing with them is they're going to be a very nimble team that we can move and drop into territory as we hire. And then as we move them out of the territory, the existing SDR will take over any activities in progress and hopefully reap the rewards of the team as well. And Sid, do you want to verbalize your question?
Yeah, for sure. And small thing, but I think there's universal agreement that audio calls, group conference calls are not great. So if you're in the position to turn on your video and stop sharing the slides, that'd be great. My question is, will we rename the acquisition team to the acceleration team? And the question is because everyone is doing acquisition at GitLab. So it's not, also everyone's trying to accelerate the business, but at least it's a bit less duplicative, a bit more descriptive. And if so, when do you expect that?
I am absolutely 100% open to it. I wasn't married to the acquisition name. It was sort of the first iteration of the team. I think it makes sense to change the name to acceleration as well. We've hired Matt Malcolm, who's going to be leading that team, and wanted to give him the opportunity to chime in as well. I think he's about on his second week, so it's probably time for him to start making some big contributions. No pressure. But yeah, absolutely. And if we do that, we could do that at launch. We're not married to any specific name at this time.
And Matt likes the idea.
When is launch?
10/1 in North America. With hiring in EMEA, it takes a little bit more time, mainly because people have to give longer notice when they're leaving a company. So we're actively recruiting in EMEA right now. Likely going to take a little bit longer, shooting for 11/1 launch in EMEA with the 2 reps.
Okay, so I don't see why there's a reason to, if you're going to make the change, why you should wait until launch. But maybe I should hand it to Matt, who was trying to chime in.
No, I was saying I support the decision. I like acceleration. I do think it's a good differentiator from acquisition. I'm for it.
All right. So we can update everything and just start referring to it as the acceleration team now. I'm all for it.
Cool. Thanks.
This was more of the first iteration, if you will.
Yeah. The idea of iterations is that you don't wait. You don't wait until a launch date. You don't wait until a conference. You don't wait for anything. Like as soon as you make a decision, change it. If we have to change it again before launch, that's fine. Like we can change it 4 times. Rather not, but don't delay things because there's a call with a customer or something like that, or a person being hired. Like iteration only works because we do it as fast as possible. That's why we can keep things small. So suppose there's a big problem with acceleration. I don't know. In Asia Pacific, it sounds like a horrible word or something like that. Then we find out and we still have time to change it before the 1st of September. So rather make it now, get some lessons on the new name, get some feedback on the new name, and then change it, because maybe we changed it to something that's not great, and then we still have a chance to remedy that before in the coming 2 weeks. Well, if you wait until the launch date, you're not going to get that feedback. So I'm saying this not because this is a big thing, but because our iteration value is so counterintuitive, and it's so important to the company to keep that velocity and to keep getting that feedback on our decisions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good deal. So we will move forward with that, and we will make the corresponding updates. No problem. Good deal. And Francis, did I answer your question on the acquisition team thoroughly?
Yep, thank you.
Yep, sounds good. I see the next question is from Jason L. Jason, do you want to verbalize your question?
Sure. I saw in the presentation a couple acronyms that I knew and a couple that I didn't, and was thinking that there's a lot of new people at the company. It might be good to just pause and define a couple of these things to help everybody.
Absolutely. So XDR is an old iteration when we had BDRs and SDRs. We now only have SDRs. So going forward, SDR will be the universal name for sales development representative, which is the lead generation team. That's part of the organization. SAO is sales accepted opportunity. IACV is incremental average contract value. NORAM is North America, and ABM is account-based marketing, which is a concept we are working on. And thank you for those folks who are adding the notes into the document. All right, Sid, next question.
Yeah, what are your pipeline expectations for Q3, or pipeline building expectations, I should say?
More than last quarter would be the appropriate answer, I would assume. I don't have a projection yet, as we're just getting started. We're off to a little bit of a slow start. And I think part of that is working through the lead routing situation, some of the mappings and changes to the team. However, we had a lot of transitions and a lot of new hires last quarter. So as they continue to ramp, I anticipate their pipeline contribution will be more so than last quarter. So I believe we will surpass last quarter, but I don't have an actual projection. I will soon. And part of that is actually, yeah, and part of that too, Sid, is getting aligned, which is on the last side, which is getting pipeline aligned compensation plans, which is something we're working through as well, where we want to look at the average deal size per segment and start building out quotas that are aligned to the pipeline demands. That way we can project and forecast a little bit better as far as what we're expecting from a pipeline perspective.
Cool, thanks for that. Hey, and by the way, look, totally cool if you don't want to turn on the video, but it's still not on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I turned it on. I apologize. Here I am. I thought I had already turned that on.
Cool. That's why I mentioned. No problem.
Thank you. All right. And next questions. So I see a header in the way, so I can't see some of the questions.
Mark Roge, can you verbalize it?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I think mine's the next one. So I think you've been here a total of, I don't know, 4-ish months, something like that. So just in regards to transparency, right? So how do we show the sales teams that you all have the sense of urgency that we all need, right? I know you guys have it. Sorry, I know you all have it. I know that marketing has it. I asked Todd the same question, but how can you be more transparent and show that what you're doing has a sense of urgency to it?
Yep. So I think part of that is execution and the alignment, which hopefully you're starting to see some of the changes around, which is one of the key points for Q3 is a tighter alignment with the sales organization, right? So it's participation in the QBRs, it's transparency and clarity around what we're working on, the activities that we're working on, where we stand month to date, quarter to date. And that's going to come down to leadership and accountability from the regional managers that are aligned to the regional sales managers, as well as my geo leaders with Mona and Elsha, et cetera. So I think it comes down to constant communication, how we're attending your meetings, how we're meeting with the sales teams, which is why we're working really quickly to get that alignment thinner, so that the SDRs are participating in both forecast calls, QBRs, et cetera. And actually having a back and forth conversation as opposed to just fielding leads and prospecting blindly.
And then kind of the second part of that is, how are we going to measure leads and pipeline by region, sub-region, individual territory? I know we're working on it. I know we're working on it, and I know it's been a question from me for
Yeah.
a long time. So I don't know if we have an update or not.
Yeah. So it's still a work in progress. We're not quite there yet. I do think it's something that we can represent in Periscope. So I'm actually building out, I have an issue for a SDR standalone dashboard within Periscope that hopefully we can drill down to that level of granularity. So it's not a combination of multiple Salesforce reports, but we can actually drill down to each individual cell level and look at MQLs.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep. And I'll link that issue in the document as well, Reggie, so that you can track it. It's going to take a little bit of time, I think, for Robert to build out that dashboard. And
sorry, I'm going to keep asking until we get it, because it's very difficult to run the business without that data. So yeah, but thanks.
No, absolutely. No, and I'm 100% with you on that. So I think we're both on the same page there.
Yep. All good. Thanks.
All right. Jason L., would you like to verbalize your question number 7?
Yeah, sure. So it's kind of a general question about the product team or the product itself. What can the product team or what could we improve in the product that would help enable the sales team more?
Yep. So I see that Hamilton already commented on this. So we're going through a new iteration of how we're doing enablement with Megan O'Dowd coming on board, and then Michael Hamilton is handling more the product and technical as well as soft skills that the SDRs are being trained on. So we would love, absolutely, we're revamping the weekly enablement series and potentially looking at doing less of them, but doing them better. So we absolutely would love to collaborate and work with the product team on that.
How is the training material and kind of like the info that you need in order to be up to speed on the product? How is that working today?
I don't know, Michael Hamilton, are you on? Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look at my video on for you guys. Right now, it's a collaboration with a couple of the older tenured folks from product marketing, myself, and then influence from the team on topics. One of the things we're pushing for is a clear, defined learning objectives for each, implementing assessment after, and then actually creating more of a long-term curriculum to not only onboard faster, which we started to get a good amount of content put together for this, but continuous learning to prep for future roles, whether it be into sales or other areas of the company. And so at this point, we are looking to expand, especially in the continuous learning side of things, which is where I'd love to work with you a little bit on that.
Got it. And then Sid, you have the last one noted. I don't know if you want to verbalize it, but I read it.
I'll give a bit of context. I'm not saying this just for you. I'm saying this for all the 100 people on the call. We use ISO dates internally because otherwise with people in Europe and other parts of the world, it's ambiguous what a date is. And in a presentation, if you put it view only, it's like the door is closed to anybody contributing. So our mission is everyone can contribute. At least allow them to comment on your presentation. You probably want to receive comments, but why not allow people to make it better? If you use a lot of acronyms, maybe someone is feeling really excited this morning and is going to make hyperlinks out of all of them, linking to the definitions. Maybe not, but why not? They're probably not going to make it worse. I've seen 3 instances of people making something worse and 3,000 instances of people wanting to make something better and not being allowed to do so. So we want everyone to be able to contribute. So everyone, please allow people to edit your presentations.
Absolutely. And if there's anything I could use help on, it's making my presentations better. So
no, I thought the presentation was excellent, and thanks for being very quick in running through it. It was good.
Absolutely. I don't see any other questions in the document, but I'll ask if anybody else has anything, any comments from the chat potentially that I need to address.
I've got a question, Evan.
Okay.
What are you most excited about for this quarter?
For this quarter, I'm most excited, honestly, about the collaboration with the sales team and the alignment that we're doing with the sales team, right? We're bringing on a lot of fantastic people. We've got a great team now. I know where we can go with this as far as being strategic with the team and getting a lot of that feedback and interaction from the sales team. And I think that we've had some barriers in the past that have prevented that, and I think we're getting through those now. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm also truthfully very excited about the acceleration team. See, we've changed it. The acceleration team is something I'm really excited about because I think it's a new concept, and it really is leveraging the 3 disciplines within revenue marketing with field, digital, and the SDR organization. So I think we can make a pretty quick and interesting impact there.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Evan, I got a quick question. I know right now we're looking at 6 different people for the acquisition team, 4 for NORAM and 2 for EMEA. I know that there's also some hyper growth targets for the sales team, and there's probably not enough headcount to go around with SDRs. What's your thoughts for kind of 3 months, 6 months, 12 months into this acceleration team and the hiring plan for being able to kind of expand the dent that this team is making across the regions?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're correct. We're starting with 6. I believe that team has a possibility of doubling and potentially even splitting regionally, and looking at an EMEA focus as well as a NORAM focused team, similar to what we're doing with the commercial team right now. The tighter we get aligned, because the motions are different in each region, what you do in APAC, what you do in EMEA, what you do in NORAM are all completely different. And what will work and what won't is all, very, very different as well. So I could see that growing. We also are going to continue to grow the traditional SDR organization. I'm actually working on, believe it or not, the headcount forecasts for that today. So timely question. I was working on it before the group conversation because we're trying to keep those alignments as tight as possible. So we'll continue to hire on both fronts. We need to obviously see some results from the acceleration team as well, because it is a bit of a initial concept. I do believe it will work, and I do believe we will get results from it. So we will grow as we have success there, and we will continue to grow on the SDR line and map closer to the sales hiring plan.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Evan, I think I have the next one. This is Hayden. The acceleration team. How do you determine the focus? What they focus on first? Which territory? Which area? Do you have a criteria that you'll be looking at to determine where they should start?
Yeah, so there's 2 pieces, and I'll link to one of the documents that David Hunt's team's working on that shows pipeline deficiencies per sal. And so that'll be one, the heat map that we will use to assign the team, but also your hiring plan, right? So if you've got new sales starting up in a territory and we need to light them up with conversations, that's where we drop in that team as well as get you your aligned SDR. So that's why, Hayden, you're probably hearing from Matt already. I know he's reached out to you, Pidge, and Ruggie already to talk about hiring plans. We want to start building out a calendar, which we will publicize, obviously, be a public calendar on where their efforts will be focused and what their activities will be. We will lean on you heavily as far as what you think the direction, the messaging, what should we be investing in from a digital perspective? Should we be looking at field events versus webinars? So we'll be leaning on you a little bit from that perspective, but we'll be creating that calendar that aligns with your hiring plan and be able to move the team around as we go. And that's why we're probably going to more of them, because you guys are hiring like crazy. And of course, Ruggie's going to chime in. Go ahead, bud.
So, of course, just to follow up to that. So how do we dig out of the hole that we're in, right? So I think we're a little behind in where we ideally like to be. And so how long do you think it'll take to dig out of that hole? Because, excuse me, I have probably 10-ish reps that are ramping right now. Hayden probably has about the same. Pidge has about the same. We're ramping up APAC. Like the size of the Accelerate team across 30-ish ramping reps is not that much time for each territory, right? So how do we scale that?
Well, part of that is also going to rely on the named SDRs that are being hired or already hired for those sales where they will be paired. So it's not a perfect solution. We're hiring as fast as we can. We're growing as fast as we can. And we're trying to keep the alignments tight, right? So I don't have a real solid answer for that yet, other than we're moving as fast as we can. I think 10-1 is an ambitious goal for the launch of that team. Fortunately, we've got some great candidates that I think will get us off the ground pretty quickly, and then it'll be iteration from there. And between now, I think we've got, as you saw, around 16 headcount that we're hiring for from an SDR perspective globally. I'm about to update the rolling 4-quarter forecast based off of your hiring plans and make some additional asks on the SDR front. So we're moving as quickly as we can to play catch up there. I think part of it too is just being flexible. Like, I know we're working on a digital campaign for your region. I think we can do little things like that and get them off the ground as fast as possible as well, right? In addition, you know, re-engineering the campaigns and the effectiveness of the campaigns is something that we're working on. And then bringing on PMG from a digital perspective, I think is going to help with the MQL volumes, which is something we're working on. We're at time, so we've got to run. Appreciate it, everyone. I will update the document with some corresponding links. Have a good day.